The Bengals have signed one player to a contract over $40 million, and that was linebacker Logan Wilson. The Eagles have signed 8 players to contracts over $40 million. A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, Jordan Mailata, Zach Bond, Darius Slay, Saquon Barkley. So I don't want to hear this concept of, well, the Bengals can't pay everybody. I got news for you. They could have gotten the T. Higgins or Chase deal done a year ago. They could have gotten either one of those done during the season. They could have extended Hendrickson earlier. They are in this situation because they chose to be in this situation. And if you're a Bengals fan, okay, you have elite players at the 3 highest paid positions in football: quarterback, receiver, and edge rusher. It's a blessing. It's a gift. Every other team wants to have this problem. Trey Hendrickson's going to get traded, and he's going to get $30 million a year from someone else. Maybe it's the Bears. Maybe it's the Colts. Maybe it's the Commanders. I don't know who it's going to be, but some other team's going to pay him. You know, I even have friends that are Bengals fans, and they're texting me, and they're like, well, it's okay. They're prioritizing the offense. First of all, I'll believe that they get the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase deals done when I see it. But let me just say this to anybody listening or watching on Peacock. If you're the Bengals or any other franchise, I want you to get a bracelet. And I want you to say WWHD on the bracelet. What would Howie do? What would Howie Roseman do? Do you think for 1 second he would have let it get to this point where their 3 best players, other than the quarterback Burrow, all need new contracts at the exact same time? And then, by the way, why is Duke Tobin, who, by the way, I think is very underrated — the Bengals drafts have been outstanding — why do you come out publicly and say we're going to make Jamar Chase the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL? Why would you say that? So if you're Jamar Chase now, why would you sign a deal before Micah Parsons or before any of these other guys, before Max Crosby, who just set the high watermark, or TJ Watt? You wouldn't. There's no injury risk right now. You would wait. So for Bengals fans, I'm sad for you because you have one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. You should be an annual Super Bowl contender. You should be deep in the playoffs every year, but your organization and probably your ownership, for whatever reason they want to say, they have slow played these contracts. Just get it done. They could have gotten the Jamar Chase deal done for less last year than they're going to pay now. Am I off base on this, Paulie?
No, and it's one, if you're not a Bengals fan and you don't know Trey Hendrickson, because he's not a household name. He came out of Florida Atlantic.
Yep.
He was pretty good in New Orleans, but the past 5 years, Watt, Myles Garrett, and Trey Hendrickson are the only people since 2020 with 70-plus sacks. But he's not in their notoriety, but he's in their league as far as production.
And he has the most sacks over the last 2 years. He had by far the most sacks this past year, even though, by the way, they didn't have a lead in a lot of games. And I spoke with Trey on the Ross Tucker podcast, interviewed him at the Super Bowl. He couldn't have been more clear that he wanted to be in Cincinnati. He couldn't have been more respectful of the organization. This guy has done everything right. And yet the Bengals, it seems very clear he's the odd man out, and they're going to move on.